everybody. Welcome to the Backlash Recap Show. I am Joe Whataday Lowry, joined by my Thursday night disciples. First up, we have the Thursday night delight, the player Benny. Welcome, Benny.
And of Bonjour, mes amis, et bienvenue à Playerville.
Oh, so okay.
Welcome, my friends, to Playerville.
And of course, we got the smartest man in the room, Dan. Welcome. What's happening?
Welcome. I'll tell you what, that's probably one of the hottest crowds I have ever seen watching wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if we don't know any French words after that, I don't know what to tell you, but that crowd definitely was the MVP of this weekend.
Absolutely.
SmackDown yesterday and Backlash today. That crowd, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. Most of the crew is flying to Raw on Monday, and then Hartford, Connecticut better wake up or do something. I don't know. How do you top that? How do you top a crowd like that? It's just incredible. I see people slowly moving in on the chat. I appreciate everybody else joining us. RJ, Jason, thank you so much. We got another set of eyes on a television set in the other room because WrestleMania announcement is forthcoming. They said immediately following Backlash on the pre-show of the Kentucky Derby. Once I can get that information, or if anybody can grab that information, please send it along. I'm assuming WrestleMania, most likely Las Vegas at this point, from what they're all eyes are towards. Dan, anybody?
Certainly seems to be the leading favorite right now.
Right.
No pun intended, but Vegas is the Vegas odds favorite to win it. Yeah. Vegas and Minnesota are the top two right now.
Yep. And from what I heard, some reports are out there. If it is in Vegas, that venue, Legion Field, all that stuff, stadium, they're moving that to May. So that might coincide with the 1 year. You know, that's probably why they didn't make an announcement in April. They're waiting until May. So who knows?
The story did come out last week that the long-term plan with Triple H and Khan and all them is to have WrestleMania be more of a weekend thing, kind of like, and not quite the NFL wanting to do Super Bowl Sunday on, was it President's Day or whatever?
Yeah.
But they want to make it more of a holiday weekend, which I don't know if April, like beginning of April, will fall into their plans.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but all eyes are on that. So we're going to keep an ear to the ground on that one to see what happens. But all right, let's talk about it. Backlash in the books. Normally a Blob premium live event. I keep saying pay-per-view, but premium live event. You're a month out from WrestleMania. Only 5 matches on the card. 4 out of the 5 were title matches, which was kind of neat. But I guess we'll just kick things off. We'll just start it up. Let's see what we got first here, and let's check it out. Hold on one moment. All right, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens taking on the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, and Tama Tonga. I'm going to start off with the play. What'd you think of this match?
I enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't bad. Again, the result didn't surprise me. That was going to happen. Very surprised to see Tongaloa, a.k.a. Camacho.
Yeah.
And my first note is live crowd. I don't know what they were serving for refreshments, but I want some of those.
Yeah, I hear you. Dan, what'd you think about that match?
You know, guys know me. I'm not usually the big fan of the weapons and that stuff.
Yeah.
But this was a blood feud that needed a blood feud. Like I was, and I know, no pun intended, blood feud and bloodline, but I'm surprised there wasn't color in this match.
I was shocked
with the beatings that they took. I thought it was great. You had to know going in, like Benny said, that a new bloodline member was going to interfere. Because you were not going to drop. Bloodline wasn't losing their first match with the new membership.
Right.
I love it. Nobody came out of this looking weak, and you got a big foundation, plenty of good talent on SmackDown to fill the third and fourth man, the Bloodline, and it's a lot of good stuff coming up. I love the segment they touched on SmackDown with Paul Heyman, whether or not Roman Reigns is even still in charge of the Bloodline. So
good segue.
Definitely have a civil war there when he comes back.
Yeah. My now out of the 5 matches, 2 of them I gave an A. This was right off the bat an A match for me. And the reason being the return of the headshots. Did we all see that?
Yeah.
Garbage cans to the head. I'm like, okay. And as you said, Dan, I was expecting some color in this one.
Yeah, I did.
Shockingly, we did not get it.
I did make a note. I because my wife and I were watching it, and I told her, I said, I guess they abandoned concussion protocol this week.
Yep, exactly. Overseas, who knows? You fly over there, so all bets are off. Nick Aldis, great move coming out, just saying, you know what, the hell with this. I'm bringing my security team back. I'm making this a no DQ street fight, which was probably the best thing, because I did get a little concerned when all the action was, taking place before the bell and they were trying to separate them. And I kept scratching my head going, why are they going to start it off like this? But then, of course, Nick Aldis comes along, go ahead and throws the new stipulations on there. I thought it was a great match. The crowd, again, we're going to say this probably a million times over the next course of the few minutes, but the crowd was on fire. They are huge RKO fans. There is no doubt about it.
Right.
If you tuned into SmackDown last night, they were singing Randy Orton's song. They probably could have gave us 10 minutes tonight singing Randy Orton's song. So, but love the chair shots. Love the surprise element. A lot of people are like, oh, it's going to be Jacob Fatu. And lo and behold, it's Tongaloa. So there you go. You had to go all the way overseas to make your appearance on WWE television. But nonetheless, I gave it an overall A, and I think it's because of the fact that the way it started off, it was so chaotic. The crowd was lit. It was a great start to a premium live event post WrestleMania. So that was good stuff. Any final thoughts on that one, Benny?
Yeah, it was a great start. If only the momentum could have carried forward to the next match.
Right, exactly. And with the match card lineup, they did go out of order, it seems. So we'll get to that in a second. So we'll move up to the second match, and that was this one. All right, shocking WWE Women's Championship match, triple threat: Bayley, Naomi, Tiffany Stratton. I thought this would have been moved up the card a little bit, but one thing I did note on this, that Tiffy time is definitely here, and it's definitely in France. She outshined all three in this match, in my opinion. I kind of knew that Bayley was not going to drop the title on foreign soil tonight, but I do agree that Tiffy is definitely the future. Those two Alabama Slammers on the table, both those girls, which to me was the highlight of the match. Dan, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on that one?
It's funny. Benny and I actually messaged during this match, and I'm going to disagree with you on that one. I know you're very,
what a shock that is, right? Yeah.
But she very much came off to me as the Goldberg of this match. She when she was on fire, that was the best 5 minutes I've seen in ages. But right after that fuse burned out, she looked lost. This match was very sloppy on some of the spots. I don't know who was supposed to be calling it. I'm guessing Bayley being the veteran, right. But you had some moments where it's like, wow, this is great female talent. Clearly, like you said, Tiffy's going to be up there as one of the biggest stars they have. Who would have thought, by the way, when they did the big Olympic push, that she would be the one to be the mega star after they released Gable Stevenson this weekend? He was supposed to be the next big thing. But I thought this match fell apart quickly, and maybe it was because there was only 5 matches on the card, but it really felt like this match could have benefited from being 7 minutes shorter.
Sure. I agree as well. Benny, what'd you think of that?
Yeah, I agree with Dan. Tiffany had some great moves, but I don't know what you even call it, that gymnastics move where it ends in an elbow.
Yeah.
It is so slow that I made a note that I could have went out and got a Jersey Mike sub and came back in time to take her elbow. It was just, it was painfully slow, and nothing that would ever happen in a real fight. But there's a lot of, I call it obvious positioning, where if they knew that they were going to take a certain spot, you can see them shifting their body into position for that spot. And usually if it's good, that is transparent, but that was very obvious. So, Tiffany has an absolute world of potential. I look forward to great things from her, but yeah, she kind of the beginning was great. She just,
right. To me, it was sluggish. I think they put on a better match. Don't forget, SmackDown in the US here was just less than 24 hours ago. And
they had to be tired.
All of them were in the ring. So it was kind of a decent match last night. They looked a little sluggish. I do agree. I wasn't too keen on the finish, the anticlimactic finish. Well, the two Alabama Slammers, and then I knew once Tiffy time was put aside and it was Naomi and Bayley, I go, here we go again, Naomi Bayley, hug fest at the end, whatever. I did give it a B plus, only because of the crowd. I know Tiffy has a lot of conditioning issues and so forth, but I still believe she's going to be the next Charlotte Flair. I think that'll probably be her next run, if not Becky Lynch or whatever. But I still think Tiffy did really good job in this match. She carried the match. Whatever kind of match you want to call it. I agree it was sluggish at times, but again, it made it less painful with that crowd. The crowd was unbelievable. They carried the match. The Bailey sing-along, I loved it. When they started that in NXT, I loved it in NXT, and they had carried over. I do see the president of Thursday night. I'm going to beam him in. He's just tuning in right now.
All right.
And there he is. Hey, El Presidente.
Hey, guys. How are you? We're live at Polar Park inside in the upper reaches where it's quiet now. I was just listening to your dissection of the match there, that three-way dance. I don't want to call it a trios match or anything like that, but I agree that springboard back elbow by Tiffany was a little staged and lengthy, but the noise in the arena was just, as you know, and it probably discussed, off the charts. So it must have been just so difficult to set up these spots. But I'm going to agree with you guys thus far, though, and I'm happy Bailey came out with a successful defense myself, and I totally am.
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved the shock and awe value if it was Tiffy or somebody else winning the title, but you kind of know right after Backlash, right after Mania and so forth. And yes, if anybody noticed, Triple H made a post this morning from last night or whatever, that the crowd was so loud at SmackDown and today that the emergency alerts were going off on everybody's phones. So that's how loud it was there. I know through the TV we can only get, but if you had surround sound or any type of stereophonics on your television set, today would have been a day to crank that up. And I actually read some stuff online. People were actually muting their TV because it was too loud. I'm like, really? Too loud? WWE too loud? No way. No way. All right, so let's move on. We'll go to the third match of the night, and it was this one. All right, World Heavyweight Championship, match number 3, shockingly placed for me, pitted Damian Priest defending his newly won world title against Jey Uso. I'll start off with you, President. What did you think of that match?
Well, more than anything, I think. Aside from a pretty decent match in general, just the introduction to the new Bloodline members was, I think, a wonderful addition to this particular match. And it was really the only purpose of it is to serve, I think, as an introduction to the expanded family, if you will. But all in all, I thought it was a pretty good contest. What'd you guys think?
Yeah, Dan, what do you got for this match?
I must say this match for me, one of the notes I made is call of the night. When the match started, Michael Cole said, for those joining us, Jey Uso on the left, Damian Priest on the right, in case there's any wrestling fans that can't tell the two of them apart. The way he said it, it's like boxers, Davis wearing the green trunks and Michael's in the black. Like, everyone watching knows which one of those two men is Damian Priest. I thought that call felt really weird and out of place. As for this match, I thought it was exactly what you expected. You knew Jey Uso was going to look like he should have won. You knew that they were going to screw him. I don't know what they're doing with the Judgment Day, where Damian Priest is kind of not wanting the help. He pulling them off of beating up Jey afterwards, but still, clearly not disappointed that he kept his title. So I'm not entirely sure what they're doing with that. And then, of course, they've got the whole Ray. The storyline with Ray, Dominic Mysterio, and getting caught up in his little love triangle. So I don't know, but I think this match is exactly what it needed to be. Damian Priest is a tough looking champion. Jey Uso comes out still looking like a main event talent, and you push forward the further. Judgment Day is probably splitting up soon storyline. So,
Player, what'd you think of this one?
When Dan mentioned Michael Cole, I thought, damn, Dan's going to steal my thunder. I have no use for Michael Cole, but to me, the line of the night was when he said that Klingon-like head of JD McDonough.
The Klingon-like head.
Klingon-like head, yes.
Yeah, to me, this was the match I was not looking forward to tonight. I don't know why. I'm still having a hard time putting my head around the fact that Damian Priest is still with the Judgment Day as world champion. And then Jey Uso, to me, is always going to be an Uso tag team wrestler. That's all I see it as. And to put these two together, I was like, all right, whatever happens, happens. Did you really think Jey Uso was going to lose after Damian Priest's first title defense? No way. But where does Jey Uso go from now? I was kind of intrigued how the Bloodline walked past him right before he went into the ring, before they went to like their little commercial break there. What do they do on Peacock? So I was thinking, that had a little sidebar to me. Is this going to be a Jay heel turn? Is it going to be a bloodline interference where they don't let him win it? Things like that. Will there be a Jimmy Uso sighting? I don't know. Something like that was triggering me. But then when JD McDonough stuck his nose in, and of course Finn Balor came out of nowhere, I wasn't expecting Dominic due to his injury and so forth. But
you mean his large head, Joe, not his nose, his extremely large cranium, JD McDonough.
But JD went from almost the zero to the hero now because he's the one that put the foot on the rope for Damian Priest, who was about to lose his title.
Which I give JD credit where it's due. That was a perfectly timed spot. It's how often have we seen 1, 2, and the refs has to come down real slow.
Yeah.
They timed that perfectly. Gorgeous looking spot. I will say too, talking of what Benny was saying as far as commentary and how the announcing in the crowd. I had a note that I corrected myself. I'll correct here in a bit.
Sure.
But Jay's entrance with the crowd doing the yeeting with the lights in their hands, I thought was the shot of the night.
Yep. That was
until
cool.
a little later. I crossed it out, and I'll bring up the shot of the night later. But I thought the camera work and the pre bucktooth talentless piece of shit camera work that the WWE's been doing has sold this. These shows look amazing with this crowd. It's just, I think this match, for as weak as it was, made that much better by the crowd and the camera work.
Yeah, they yeeted it right out of the park. That's for sure. It was a good match. I'm not saying, like I said, I'm having a hard time with the Judgment Day and him being the title holder, because you're going to have this thing now where don't interfere in my matches. Damian Priest yelling at them, but yet when they do and he keeps the title, is he ever going to acknowledge that? So you have that dissension there and so forth. And I still got my question marks about Jay, because where does Jay go from here? Like, you think about it storyline wise. Okay. He's become a singles competitor. He got a title shot. He hasn't won the title. What do you do now? Like, where does Jey Uso go now?
It's certainly the back the thought in the back of everyone's mind right now is Roman and the Usos against Solo and the Fatu brothers. So
I'm gonna pose this question to you guys, because I know we're going right down the charts here and the chat. What were they chanting after the 2 count? They'd go 1, 2, and then they would. Obviously the kick out would happen, and then the crowd went into the singing celebration. I couldn't make it out. It was in French. I know a lot of people online were asking, even since last night on SmackDown, they started doing it. Whenever there was a 2 kick out on the 2 count, what were they chanting? Does anybody know what they were chanting? I'm asking anybody out there that knows a little bit of French and so forth, because they did it all
I know
night
some
long.
French, Joe, but I couldn't discern any. But it was a rather hypnotic song, I have to say. It really was. I actually enjoyed it, and it's a lesson, I think, for American crowds maybe to get themselves a little more involved now. I know Philly is a strong crowd. I know Chicago is a strong crowd. I know we have some good crowds in America, but, if nothing else, this should serve kind of as an inspiration, because I think it elevated all the action today. But as far as the actual literal translation, I'm at a loss. I tried. I even looked it up, and I couldn't find much in terms of translation. So I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out. I was trying to go online, see if anybody. And people were asking the same thing. What are they cheering? Because it sounded like obviously, with the kickouts and the 2 counts happens a lot during a night of pro wrestling. This crowd was so hot. It was like crazy. They were having it reminds me of the old the Raw after WrestleMania crowds, where they just did their own thing. They didn't care what was going on, and that's exactly what Lyon France did. They came out in full force tonight, and they showed the world that who knows, to have some other type of event over there, whether it's the big one or another one. I could see them going back to France really soon, if not later. So
can you imagine those 11,000 fans magnified by 6 or 7 or 8-fold, and the sound that would come? This is 11,000. That's what the Worcester Centrum holds.
Right.
Amazing sound, just amazing. Yeah. So really, it's quality over quantity there.
Yep. 11,000. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know if it's carryover from soccer or something in the French sport, but when they would do the 1, 2, and then the crowd would go crazy, they were chanting in French, just a 2 count. Oh,
so is that
pretty much what that translates to? I don't know why that's important, like just a 2 count, kind of like us yelling 2 as Americans.
Right.
I don't know what that means, but that's what they were saying. If you're,
I mean, if you didn't, I mean, at certain times throughout tonight, especially in the main event, we'll get to that later on. I thought I was literally at a soccer game. It was just unbelievable. I'll say it right now. I know earlier that before we came on the air, they're the MVP of this whole weekend. The crowd was just unbelievable for 11,682 people in one arena. When you get Michael Cole, everybody steps their game up too, by the way. When you have that crowd element in there, it's unbelievable. It makes everything so much easier to listen to and watch when you have that, because when you look at these 5 matches, they were okay. They were good matches. They were WWE serviceable, aka Jimmy Farrow's big line, serviceable matches, but the crowd amped it up a bit. So kudos to them and so forth. So, by the way, if you are tuning in, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button here, Monty and the Pharaoh. They'd greatly appreciate it. We'd greatly appreciate it. I want to thank everybody still coming in, tuning in live and on the chat. We got some stragglers coming in. A few people watching live, and if you're watching on the replay, you can do the same thing while you watch this. Hit that subscribe button, that like button, and let us know that you are watching Monty in the Pharaoh. All right, so let's go to the next one here. It was this match number 3. No, match number 4, right? We're on that match number 4.
Mm-hmm. Number 4.
All right, we got new tag team champions. Didn't take long for. Do we even have a nickname for Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair yet? I heard Dream Team out there, but I mean, whatever the case may be, I'll start off with Benny. Benny, what'd you think of this tag team match?
I don't know if you remember the movie Mr. Deeds, when he takes his shoe off and Emilio, I guess he tells Emilio to hit him over the the foot with the poker,
Yep.
And Emilio says, the hideous of that foot will haunt my dreams forever. That's what this match did for me. And I thought it was just very, very sloppy, a lot of botches. Jade is still very, very green. A lot of potential, but got a ways to go.
Yeah. What'd you think, Dan?
I thought this match was so bad, Mr. President didn't even want to talk about it.
Right. He's
at a ball game. He's at a ball game chiming him. Go figure, but whatever.
Benny and I we messaged back and forth during this match too. This is another one. We talked about at the top of the hour, 5 matches. This is a match that could have been 10 minutes shorter, and I think would have been better. It were definitely times it dragged. There were some spots where, you could tell the three girls, Asuka, Kairi, and Bianca were carrying Jade for obvious reasons. But no disrespect to her, because she is significantly improved from her AEW days, but Jade was overexposed. She did too much, and there were spots she dropped with drops. Timing was a little off. Yep. This was her NXT coming out match, but it was on a live pay-per-view where they put a title on her. I think this match should have been 10 minutes shorter. If there were 6 matches on the show, this is the one you cut the time from. Yep. Poor Damage Control. They've been beaten up a lot in the last few weeks. Yeah. So hopefully they find a spark on Raw or something, because they made it very clear during this match. You talk about commentary that this is their last. They're leaving, because remember last night, this is their last match on when they lost again.
I hear about Damage Control one more time. Yeah,
their last match on SmackDown. This is their last. This could be their last time with the title. Yeah, I think. I don't know. I think it was good for what it tried to be, but it was too long and it was too much.
This is where I hate being left-handed, because I have a lot of notes on this. I'm going to try and read them while I listen to Benny. Benny, what'd you think of this tag match?
I knew that they were going to win, but the only reason they're going to win is so they can feud later on. There's no other reason. Right. Like I said, it was very sloppy. The notes I have very sloppy, botch fest. Sure. Yep. It was a hot mess. I mean, and you have 2 consummate professionals in Asuka and Kairi Sane. Well, 3, counting Bianca. Yep. And they, like Dan said, they had to carry Jade Cargill. I mean, eventually she'll hit her mark, but it wasn't today.
Yeah, I believe that couple of things. I'm just scrapping my notes now. I gave the match a C and a C plus only because it was a title change, the only title change of the night. So I'll give kudos to that. Of course, the crowd was hot. They didn't care if they botched everything. They still gave them they gave the performance their respect. Anybody want to know why the champions came out first? That was like the biggest question I saw floating around social media. Why did the Kabuki Warriors come out first? That was one. Another one, no Io Sky, no Dakota Kai. I did read somewhere that Dakota Kai was spotted backstage wearing a sling. Not sure the extent of that. And if you notice that Kiri's leg was severely taped, or her left quad was really taped up underneath all that garbage she wears in the ring. But and of course, everybody was immediately after Bianca Belair was in the ring with Asuka, she got the makeup on her shoulder here, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, she's got the worst bruise you could ever see." And I'm like, and even I was like, I wrote it down. Lo and behold, it was Asuka's makeup that was smudging everywhere. Right. We didn't see any green mist, which I was shocked about. And yes, there were a lot of botches, not mainly by the moves, but the referee botched a couple of times, even had to physically tell them when they went for a pin, you're not the legal woman in the ring.
Yeah. When they did the final spot where Bianca when they hit the twin move and she had to roll Kairi out of the way and pin Asuka.
Exactly.
Because they had done it backwards. They hit Kairi with the finisher and Asuka just kind of laid there. I think that it's telling to answer your question. They did the same thing a few months back with Sammy coming out second to Roman Reigns. Jade Cargill had to come out last. That was the plan. I mean, they didn't mention anything about it like they did when Sammy came out, where they said Roman chose as champion to come out first.
Sure.
But it always, to me, as an old school, it always looks weird the champion coming out first.
I just didn't. I don't know why. We all knew going into this match. I mean, on paper, in the ring, they look like I'm talking about Belair and Jade Cargill. They look unstoppable. They're very well conditioned athletes. They got athletic backgrounds. I mean, but here we are with the old cliche. That's great outside the ring, but what can you do inside the ring? Bianca is proven. She's got a few years ahead of Cargill. Cargill barely got her reps in AEW. If anything, she probably honed more in her mic skills in AEW with the Tony cut the shit stuff, the TBS championship and all that stuff. But let's call what it is. Jade Cargill still green. She still needs to get her reps. But this is the longest she's been in the ring, a WWE ring, match-wise. So it was almost a 30-minute match, and that's a long time, and it showed.
And it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. This was the longest match of the night, wasn't it?
I think so. Yes, it was.
Yeah, and I think this too is unfortunately, you don't want something just because it's obvious doesn't mean it's always going to be bad. But now this is the obvious placeholder where Bianca and Jade are going to be undefeated powerhouse until Jade turns on Bianca when she's ready to have that feud. And then they'll lose the titles, kind of like Ronda turning on.
You can already see it because I predicted WrestleMania next year should have Belair versus Cargill. Those are the two big ones everybody wants to see.
Yeah. You don't want to pull it right away. You don't want to have the match at SummerSlam or whatever. Let it develop.
We're doing the mega powers here. That's the type of thing we're going to go at.
Good comparison.
It's going to be a slow burn, slow build, all that stuff. It'll be great at the end.
Yep.
But Jade Cargill needs to get more reps. Now that she has a belt on her, you can see where this is going too. Bianca is the wrestler. Jade's the power lifter. She can't take a bump. She looked horrendous taking those bumps, by the way. It was whether it was a drop kick, a knee, or whatever. It just didn't look right because you got Kairi Sane, who's about 2 feet tall, versus 6 foot Jade Cargill. It's like trying to slaughter Andre the Giant. Even Andre couldn't sell it all the time. But
I think that the moment for me that kind of pointed it out was Jade did a spot where she was going to gorilla press Kairi Sane and she couldn't get her up. Kairi turned basically slammed herself. Like you could see Kairi just like, fuck it, I'll do it myself and push off and flip over. And they're like, oh, Jade slammed her down. Like, no, Kairi it was either I'm going to flip myself out of this or you're going to drop me on my head. So Kairi kind of got out of it herself.
And if you think about you put this match on Raw or SmackDown or even the US somewhere, they would have been booed out of the building.
Absolutely.
You fucked up chance. You would have heard it all.
Yeah,
they were very respectful over there. Very respectful.
That video of Maxine being booed out of the arena.
Exactly. And I just was like, it was if it wasn't for the crowd, this would have been a very cringeworthy. This would have been a botch fest. I'm sure the memes are going to go around soon enough, but hey, we got new tag team champs in the WWE. The Kabuki Warriors no longer. Like I said, I questioned at the beginning, where was Io Sky? Where was Dakota Kai? No outside interference. Shocking.
which is weird because I know EO didn't travel with them, but Dakota was on SmackDown last night, so
she was shown
right. Yeah, where is she? Right.
And when she was going into the arena today, somebody said they noticed because they, how they carry their luggage.
Yeah,
they make it look like she was carrying a purse, but it looked like she had a sling on.
Oh,
so we're not sure if she was hurt or not. It's unconfirmed. I'm only going by what people saw in the pictures that have been shown online. So who knows? She didn't even make it to ringside. So that's that. A couple of comments here. Looks like Monty's chiming in. Thanks, Monty, for joining us. She believes that the crowd was hot and maybe made the talent nervous. What do you guys think of that? The talent being nervous.
He's not wrong. Combine that with what you said, where the crowd was so loud, calling spots may have been impossible. I think may have contributed to some of the sloppiness.
Yeah, I did notice that the crowd was so loud that you couldn't hear the wrestlers talking to each other unless they really panned in on them.
Right.
But even like a Raw and a SmackDown, they're right there. You can hear them, and they're part of the dialogue. And I think that's because the crowd is dead. But tonight it wasn't. Don't forget, you get the likes of, I would say a majority of that talent has not performed in front of a crowd like that ever. I know Tiffany Stratton hasn't. I mean, you've had loud, boisterous NXT crowds, but 11,000 people that sound like 50,000 people. You can get amped up and you can get nervous and you can make mistakes. So, yeah, that was good. Jason Moaning has said, let's call them the Valium Express. I'm not sure who you're referring to.
Good one.
A lot of good chats coming here. Thank you, everybody, for let me see. Jason, again, the only French word I know is cul-de-sac, means bag's ass. Okay, nice one. All right. So that leaves us one match left here, and this one. One more match. That is the main event of the evening, the Undisputed WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes, champion, taking on AJ Styles, challenger. Playa, I'll kick it off with you on this one. What'd you think of this one?
A+, loved it. Glad they saved it for last. Two absolute consummate professionals doing what they do best. Beat the crap out of each other. Very believable match. I thought at the end that maybe, when they kind of, after Cody pinned him, that maybe he was going to try to help him up. And maybe, like AJ's heel turn was going to be short-lived, but then he kind of rolled out of the ring. But no, I loved it. I thought it was a great match.
Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. I made a comment earlier. I said I had updates for camera shot of the night when it cut to the crowd and it cut to AJ Styles and the camera, his face was shaking because the building was literally shaking. That the cameraman couldn't keep a steady shot on AJ's face. Shot of the night, great stuff. Without question, A+ match of the night. I mean, yeah, this is like we said about, Monty had commented on them, the crowd making people nervous. Cody and AJ could have called this match in their sleep. Just two phenomenal. Last night on SmackDown, Cody called AJ the modern hitman, basically the modern excellence of execution. That's exactly what this was. This was Bret Austin. This was those matches you point at and go, those were always good, phenomenal stuff. If there was anybody who could have made Cody look like $1 million as champion, it's AJ Styles, and he didn't look weak from this loss. Phenomenal stuff, no pun intended. And I give the crowd credit because I know they touched on it. The na 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 that the crowd was doing. That was a reference to a song called "He Is Phenomenal," which came out in the 90s in France and became a crowd chant for your useless fact of the day. It became a crowd chant during the 98 World Cup when it was in France. And that was where the crowd just kind of kept that song going because obviously you've got a guy in the ring that's phenomenal.
That crowd was unbelievable. A couple of notes I have. Jessica Carr made history as being the first female referee to main event a pay-per-view title match. Shocking. I was shocked with that one. But the sing-along with Cody after his music stopped, they sang for a couple of seconds, a few minutes. Not as long as Seth Rollins last year with the 10-minute serenade, but still, that was pretty good. The camera shot with AJ Styles, this place was rocking. As soon as I said it, Cole and I think Corey Graves said it, the camera's even rocking. And I was like, this is unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
The burning hammer, I was a little concerned when he hit it on Cody Rhodes. He landed on that shoulder, and I was like, ooh, I cringed for a second. But they sold it very well. Cody's first title defense, in my mind, was probably one of his best matches. Mm-hmm. These two take the crowd out of it for a second, even though the crowd gave it probably all their adrenaline. I could have watched these two wrestle for an hour easily.
Absolutely.
It was a great match. great counters, finishing move, kickouts, all that stuff. You know, when you see these finishing moves and they kick out, they just reinvent it, and they did so good. Cody Rhodes off the top rope cutter.
Yeah.
Everything was just, I hate to, no pun intended, was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
AJ Styles, I mean, I'm so glad he's still with the WWE. I love his new, you know, his attitude hasn't changed. He's just focused now. And I hope he keeps going on that run, because I can see him, you know, with another world title down the line, the way he's wrestling now. It's unfortunate that we're on the Cody Rhodes bandwagon for a while. But, you know, what's next now? This leads us to the end of a premium live event. You know, you get your Judgment Day stuff going on. You have a couple of balls in the air, but really, what's next for Cody Rhodes when he comes back to the States? Who's next for Cody Rhodes? Any idea?
You know, I was surprised and I'm kind of disappointed, because I thought to me it seemed obvious that they didn't draft Gunther to SmackDown to be the next challenger for Cody, because they really they're a little thin on heavyweight heels on SmackDown. Yeah. So I think unless Cody gets involved in the Judgment Day in the Bloodline storyline, sure, you know, he can be the third man with Owens and Reigns. Because I mean, right now, like Randy Orton can't turn on Cody, he's busy. Kevin Owens can't turn on Cody, he's busy. You know, a lot of the talent stayed on Raw. Sure. That I thought might have come over, Gunther, McIntyre, somebody like that.
Exactly.
I don't know. I'm curious to see where it goes from here. I will say, I do think it's funny. The moment that had me cracking up, because you said you made the same mistake on the pre-show. Yeah. As they were wrapping up the pre-show, CM Punk said, "We're getting ready for a pay-per-view." Yeah. And they had to correct him. They're like, "A premium live event now." And he looked at the camera and went, "Sorry, I'm the new guy here."
Oh,
and what's her name? Brown, the woman who was hosting the pre-show, literally, you've been here long enough to know better. Like, I just thought that was great. And I did it during the show. I think it was Corey Graves said pay-per-view. So like, we're still learning the PLE crowd, but. Well,
here's a funny part, Benny. I didn't know if you noticed during that pre-show, Big E kind of let the cat out of the bag when he mentioned Tonga's brother from New Japan, and then CM Punk looked at Big E and said, "You can't say New Japan. We're on WWE television." He goes, "I watch other things." And Jackie Revan's face turned red. She didn't want to say nothing. She had to get him off track, but. Right. That's the first time I've heard New Japan out of anybody's lips, WWE talent-wise, pre-show, regular show, whatever. I just thought that was kind of neat that, you know, hey, we're not all stupid here. We know where these guys come from. And Big E's just – Benny, what'd you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's 2024. For God's sakes, you know, we all watch that stuff. I thought there was nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I just don't forget, Michael Cole, when he came out Michael Cole said that he had been in Japan, and Michael Cole even said that he was an original member of the Bullet Club.
Yeah,
that's the first time I've heard that mentioned.
Yep, I was amazed that was going around again. The Bullet Club. I'm like, geez, you know, this is like anti. Well,
if you think about it, the original Bullet Club, every member of the original Bullet Club's in WWE right now.
Of
Styles.
Course. But they're not all together. That's the thing. They're not all together.
They're not going to form their own faction. But that original Bullet Club, Cody, everybody, you know.
Yeah,
and then the Bullet Club 2.0 is all in AEW. So
I hear you there. So I'll go around the room real quick. Player, what was your match of the night out of the 5?
The last one, easily.
Cody.
That saved it for me. It was very ho-hum, lackluster before that, but that pulled it out.
Nice. Dan, what was your match of the night?
Yeah, without question, the main event. Like you said, if they could have shaved 10 minutes off 20 minutes off the tag match, made this match 20 minutes longer, I would have been happy. Definitely match of the night. Great stuff. I look forward to what comes next.
Sure. I'll go against the grain here, and I'm going to call it. I do believe that for me, match of the night was Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, the Bloodline, because it provided all that element of surprise with Tonga Loa coming out. You had the chair shots to the head, and it kicked off with Nick Aldis coming out saying, "Cut the crap, stop doing whatever you're doing. We're going to call this a street fight." It was just off the record stuff. So, oh, okay. I got an email in my inbox here. Is it something breaking? Oh, go on. Hold on. Phil, share this on my show. What do we got here? Oh boy. All right, let me see. We got it. It's from Phil. All right, so hold on here. Oh, he's Phil, the Presidente, is going to tell us why he left the show with a picture. So just bear with me. I thought this was other breaking news. So we still don't know yet where WrestleMania is going to be. We still don't know. And may the 4th be with you. Yes, Star Wars. And this is why Phil had to leave the show, guys. You ready? And let me get out of the way here. Boom, boom, boom. Let me try this out. I did it as a background. Hold on one second. Here we go. This is why Phil cannot be with us. There you go. He got interrupted by this guy. Can you guys see him?
Is that Teen Wolf?
Yeah, it looks like Teen Wolf, doesn't it? Doesn't it look like Michael J. Fox? Yeah, it does look like Teen Wolf. I'm assuming it's Chewbacca, right? It looks like
That
Star
is
Wars.
Chewbacca, yes, sir.
Yeah, may the 4th be with you.
Team Chewbacca.
Phil sent that along. That's why he had to drop out of the show. Thanks, Phil. Thanks for at least letting us know that. Chewy, is that you? That's what Jason Moaning saying. Real quickly to get back, let me get over here, get this out of the way. The reason why I picked that because I think this is the Triple H era that we're going to be seeing a lot more of with the headshots, the last second changes to matches and so forth. Because when RKO and them came out, I mean, the place was hot. They were already chanting for an hour. They were already going ballistic. And then I was like, okay, so the first match is always the warm-up match. People are going to have to get settled in their seats. But these guys the fans were settled in their seats well before that. Like I said, the unpredictability part, that really set the stage for the pay-per-view, even though we had a couple of so-so matches. But yeah, right there with you guys, Cody Rhodes, AJ Styles knocked it out of the park. That is what a main event bout should be. The bar is now raised, so to speak, with the WWE. I should say the pressure now is going to be on Hartford, Connecticut this Monday night where Raw takes place. I don't see this kind of crowd showing up at Raw. What do you guys think? Dan, go ahead.
No, I don't. Clearly, I don't think so. But I think it's important. They mentioned it during the draft, and they mentioned it again tonight, that the draft rosters do not get locked in until the 6th. So I definitely think something on Raw, be it a trade, be it a new somebody defecting, something is going to happen to make Raw kind of hint towards where they're going in the future. But no, I think the Raw crowd might be hot, but it's not going to be like this. Absolutely not.
Play, what do you think? Hot crowd, slow crowd, Raw, Monday night?
I mean, there's no way any crowd, I mean, short of like an Arrowhead Stadium with 90,000 people. Sure. I never heard 11,000 people make that much noise in my whole life.
This is probably one of the most enjoyable WWE PLEs I've even WrestleMania, because night one really totally the crowd sucked. Night one of WrestleMania. This crowd between SmackDown last night, because I watched it last night live, and getting up this morning, and of course with the time zone difference, you got a dose of WWE twice within 24 hours. And this, I was afraid the crowd was going to be dead, or at least not as amped up as last night, but they took it to another level. And if you notice, the first couple of rows had the same fans that were there last night. Obviously, they bought package deals where you can go to SmackDown and the premium live event. This crowd really brought it. The bar has been raised. I don't know if this is going to be an international thing. I really am stalling for time because I'm waiting to hear that announcement from the WWE. They said they were going to do it immediately following Backlash, as on the pre-race show for the Kentucky Derby, where WrestleMania is. We all agree that Vegas is on the table, you think?
Vegas and Minnesota were the odds-on favorites, but I think so. Well, Joe, I hate to comment and run. I know you're waiting, but like I mentioned before we got on the air, speaking of wrestling, my wife and I will be at our Dan and Benny in the Ring are good friends with VCW, Virginia Championship Wrestling. I do have a show to go to with them tonight.
Nice. Good luck with that.
And I wanted to bring up that picture I showed earlier. This is how me and the you talk about the dog. That's how me and the dog celebrate the 4th.
There you go. So, may the 4th be with you, brother.
There you go.
But yes, gentlemen, I appreciate it. You guys have yourselves a great evening, and we will see you again next time we're together.
All right, Dan.
Give George my regards, Dan.
Absolutely. I'll send my best to everybody.
All righty. Take it easy, Dan. Thanks for joining us. All right, Benny, it's just me and you. Real quick, closing thoughts on the state of the WWE now. I mean, with this crowd amped up the way it is with Cody Rhodes, not only did it finish his story, a new one is starting now. What's next for Cody? What do you think is going to happen the next week or so with WWE?
I was shocked that Gunther was not drafted to SmackDown because, to me, that was a no-brainer. I mean, Why do you have him drop the title of Sami Zayn unless he's going over and go to contend?
Could it be part of a trade on Monday then? Maybe they're going to
I
reevaluate
hope
all
so.
this.
I really hope so. That would be, Cody needs a good feud, and really,
Sure.
like we were saying earlier, there aren't that many super heavy heels that he can feud with.
Right.
I mean, that aren't already in an angle or a faction.
Well, I know I've read somewhere that you never know that they asked Cody Rhodes outright, is a heel turn possible for you? And he said, of course, in the WWE, anything is possible. So, but I don't think at this stage Cody could turn heel unless it is absolutely necessary, which I don't think this is the case because he's only a month out of becoming new champion. And we've had this 2-year build up to this. It's like Bob Backlund turning bad after just beating Billy Graham, for God's sake. So you can't do that. That's the only term I can come up with.
We would have been ready for that back then.
Jason Moaning brings up a good point. LA Knight for champion. Yeah, I mean, God, can you see those two ring entrances? LA Knight and Cody Rhodes going at it? That'd be unbelievable right there. That'd be a great matchup.
You'd probably have to turn one of them though, to make that work.
Well, LA Knight used to be a heel, right? Maximum, but I mean, they're both over. So I mean, what's wrong with a couple of baby faces going at it? Bruno and Pedro did it right at Chase Stadium. Why not? Right?
It's happened before.
Yeah, I could see this happening. I mean, the challengers, I mean, let's not forget now, NXT's clearing house. They had just had announced 10 people were let go, including Drew Gulak, who is suffering from the Ronda Rousey effect there with a false accusation and so forth. But Drew Gulak no longer with NXT. They let a whole bunch of other ones go. And Gable Stevenson, the Olympian that they heavily touted for years, it seemed like.
Surprised to see that.
Yeah, he's out at WWE. So you're going to have people coming up from NXT. To me, right now, it will be an interesting Raw, like Dan said. You have the trade deadline. You have the rosters are set on May 6th. There's going to be some trades. I'd love to see Gunther come over. I think Gunther is world champion material. If he does come over to Raw, that'd be a great segue for him and Damian Priest. Because I'm still not buying this long-term deal with Damian Priest. I think Damian's going to be a transitional champion, and I do believe the Judgment Day will cost him the world title at some point down the line, but I don't see a long-term champion here. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think so far so good. I think he's really embraced the role and done very well with it, but I could not possibly think of him. I mean, I'm thinking like a Jinder Mahal type of reign, 6 months or less.
Exactly. And speaking of Jinder Mahal, that's a good segue. The next Premium Live event is at the end of the month where SmackDown and King and Queen of the Ring takes place again overseas, foreign soil. We're going back to Saudi Arabia. Jeddah Stadium will be hosting a SmackDown. And then the following night, they'll be hosting the King and Queen tournament. The brackets, I do believe, will be released this week. So the matches may be starting up for that. Culminating at Saudi Arabia. So we're going to have to get some challenges for both Cody Rhodes and Damian Priest, because don't forget, when they go over to Saudi Arabia, it's pretty much everybody that goes over. It's a 5-hour, almost 6-hour event. The whole roster's over there. They're going to have to get some challengers. They're going to have to get some stories built up. So it will be a little hectic in the WWE, and we're only 3 weeks away from that. So it's going to be a little I think timing is going to be an issue here, so you're gonna have to keep it tuned to WWE program to keep up with it.
Yeah, so I think for sure Monday and Friday you're going to see a lot of new storyline development. You have to.
Yeah, I see it. So speaking of storylines, with the Bloodline, obviously now we have Tongaloa, Tama Tonga, Solo Sikoa. They're the new Bloodline and so forth. So storyline wise, where does Jacob Fatu, who's already signed with WWE and supposed to make his debut, they pushed him off. Where does he come in all this? Does he come in with Roman Reigns now? Is he the third member with The Rock? Like, what do you think about that? Jacob Fatu, where does he fit in with the Bloodline now?
It's very confusing. Or do they put him in with with the rest of the guys? But then, then you start getting like the NWO when you had Scott Norton, Virgil, and Dusty Rhodes and everybody else. Right. You don't want to make it. You don't want to dilute it too much.
Yeah, you don't want to dilute it. And I hope Triple H doesn't go down that avenue. But nonetheless, all right, folks, that's going to do it for us here in Backlash. Any closing thoughts, Benny?
No, I have to. I would have given the show a C+ overall, but I'm going to jack it up to a B- just because of the crowd. Yeah. I could not. I mean, that was the first thing that hit me. Is like, holy crap, this crowd is lively. And I thought, it's just kind of the beginning. They're enthusiastic. they kept it up for the whole time.
Yeah, they were rocking. There's no doubt that there will be another premium live event, or do I dare say WrestleMania type event at or somewhere in France, because these guys, and it was great to get educated before the show. I did not know Lyon, France, which is about 200 miles south of Paris, was the silk and food capital of the world and cinema.
Wow.
Very, very cultural over there in Lyon, France. I'm sure they generated some money to the locals there. They've been here for a couple of days now. They did some damage again with 11,682 people. They had the largest gate for SmackDown last night, which is dumbfounding to me. But I look in that arena, I saw everybody either holding a title, a T-shirt, something to do with WWE. So I'd be surprised to see what the closing numbers are for the gates, both on Friday SmackDown and, of course, today's live event with Backlash. It'll be interesting to say the least, but it's pretty safe to say that they will be returning to Lyon, France, especially for a televised event, because that crowd was the MVP of this weekend for WWE.
They earned it. They earned a return gig.
They are, folks. And just to let you know, I am still waiting for the WrestleMania announcement. Obviously, it's not happened just yet. So when it does happen, I will put it out on my Facebook, and as well as the Monty and the Pharaoh Facebook posts. We'll do it out there. I'll tag everybody in it. That should be coming momentarily. I want to thank everybody for tuning in live and on the replay. I know it's almost 4 o'clock my time, which is almost 5 o'clock on the East Coast.
4:52.
Just a real obscure time to do a post show for me, because it's the middle of the day still. Sun is bright. Sun is starting to come out a little bit. We've had some rain today, but nonetheless, I want to thank Monty and Pharaoh for allowing us to come on and do the Backlash recap show. And thank you to the chat. And don't forget, folks, if you like what you see, let us know. If you don't like it, still let us know. And hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. This channel is run because of you guys. And we want to thank everybody for tuning in live as well as on the replay. That's going to do it for me, player. That's it, right?
No, I got one little last bit of I guess it is breaking news. One of our family members is getting married today. Jimmy Farrow.
He is getting married. I knew there was a big deal going on.
Yes. So
nice.
Love you guys. You guys are the best. We wish you all the best in the world. What a great couple.
Jimmy Farrow tying the knot on Saturday,
yes.
May 4th. Are they all dressed up like Star Wars? Is he a Star Wars guy? Did he know he was getting married?
Maybe the 4th he's a Yankee fan. Maybe he got dressed up like Babe Ruth. Who knows?
There you go. There you go. Well, congratulations, Jimmy Farrow, on your nuptials. That's great stuff. Great stuff there, folks. All right, we're out of here. That's going to do it for us. For the player, Monty and the Pharaoh, I'm Joe Lowry. What a day.